Are any of you even listening to me?
I traveled here today to tell you that things do not go well for you in the future.
But tonight we got a shot. There's a perfect configuration of people in this diner that can save humanity.
What happens if we fail?
I really don't like to say it out loud. It's kind of a morale killer.
Hello, I'm Alise Chaffins, and I'm here today with Matthew Robinson, the screenwriter for the film Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, coming to theaters on February 13th. Thank you so much for joining me today, Matthew. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Elise. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So I understand this script is something that you've been working on for a while. Can you talk about the process of writing and then getting it into the hands of Gore Verbinski and actually seeing
Yeah.
it on screen? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a strange labyrinthian process. It started as almost like a series of short stories that I was writing in script form, and you know there was, and you'll see the movie is a bit of an anthology in terms of it's a bunch of small stories that all come together into one long story. Um, I was very influenced by Canterbury Tales by Chaucer, which had the same sort of structure. It's one long journey in which we sort of zoom in and get these cool backstories of the people that are on this journey, and we learn why they're there. And I loved that as a structure, and I sort of challenged myself to take these little small ideas that I loved that were all, you know, about technology and all in the same sort of theme of technology addiction, and find sort of a fun popcorn movie that can bring them all together. Um, and then in terms of how Gore got involved, you know, this was a movie that very few studios were willing to touch because it has some pretty controversial and pointed themes in there. And Gore couldn't have been less afraid. Gore runs towards difficult projects. He loves an impossible mountain to climb. And so I think he was looking for what's the most impossible script in Hollywood that could get made. And he landed on mine, and I was lucky enough to have him.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so you kind of mentioned this is not particularly kind toward AI, but because this has just been in development for a while, can you talk about how that element might have like changed and morphed over the time and how you kind of landed on where it does?
Yeah, well, I'm obsessed with understanding technology, and you know, the script was written 10 years ago when AI was still something that probably my mom had never even heard of, and now my mom probably uses it every day. You know, so I mean, the amount of things that have changed since I started the script and now are wild. But at the time, I was very interested in what AI was going to be. I had just finished reading Nick Bostrom's Superintelligence, which is a dark, terrifying, you know, journalistic look at how AI is going to kill us all. And to me, after reading it, I was like, this is a comedy. It's too scary to ever really take seriously, even though you should take it seriously, and it's definitely going to kill us all.
Right.
It still was. I just have to laugh at how absurd and dark it is, and so I just loved the idea of, you know, much like Kubrick did with Doctor Strangelove. Like the only way to really face nuclear Armageddon was with laughter. Like it's the only way to make it real. And that's how I felt about AI. Not to compare myself at all with Kubrick.
No, I mean, I think it's a fascinating script. One of the things that's really interesting is that it starts with this massive, like, exposition dump from
Yeah,
Rockwell's character, which is not how you usually would want to start a movie, but it has this
no.
really great sense of intensity. Can you talk about, like, writing that and then, yeah, like working together just to kind of like bring that to screen and make it something that's compelling and not just
Yeah,
kind of what it is, which is this huge, yeah, like
yeah.
expo dump here.
Well, I am a movie lover through and through. Ever since I was a young child, it's all I care about. It is my religion. And I've always loved long monologues in movies.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking ever since I was young, like, there's why don't movies just open with great monologues? Like, I love a good monologue. I love watching an actor sort of take a musical approach to dialogue and turn it into an opera. And I don't know, I really challenged myself with writing the worst idea somebody could have for a movie, which is to start with a 10-minute monologue. But I just thought if I could pull that off, how exciting would that be as a film lover? Like, it's
Yeah.
just fun to watch a movie open with a genius like Sam Rockwell taking you on a tour de force, you know, 10-minute long monologue. And what's funny is Sam admittedly, I'm not the first to say this, has said he does not like monologues. And in the last year between this and White Lotus, he's like the monologue guy now, which is so funny to me. And he's told me that the White Lotus, that he only took the job because he felt comfortable, after working so hard on this 10-minute. He spent 4 months, I think, preparing for this monologue. I mean, it's a lot of words to remember, and also to make real. To not make feel like a monologue, to make it feel like the character really just needing to talk to people for that long.
Yeah, for sure. Because it does have that like energy throughout it. So yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
really
that's
impressed with
all.
the
That's
way
all
it
Sam
works.
and Gore. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah, excellent.
there's 1,000 ways it goes wrong and one way it goes right, and Gore and Sam found the one way.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the other things that was really interesting about this movie to me is that it can really be read, I think, a few different ways. A colleague and I were talking yesterday, and he really said that he thought that the whole thing was just this kind of simulation.
Simulation,
And
sure.
yeah, and I really saw it as kind of this like more like near future story set in the real world. Can you talk about kind of like navigating that kind of ambiguity as a
Yeah.
screenwriter? Because I don't think it has like a right answer on, like to me anyway. Yeah.
Yes, I have a strong opinion on it, and
Okay.
Gore has a strong opinion on it, and Sam had a strong opinion on it, and everybody has their own very strong opinion on if it is a simulation, if it is a video game, or if it is real, if the AI is a time traveler messing with the storyline. There's so many different ways it can go.
Yeah.
And what was really important to me was that everyone can feel really strongly about their own version of it. I definitely have my own, and I will keep that to myself because I think it's fun for everybody to have their own. But it was really important that, and part of the rewriting process that Gore and I did together was to really make sure that we left that as ambiguous as possible. And anytime we pushed too far in one direction, we needed to make sure we had enough of a logical understanding of how to make the opposite true as well. And
Mm.
that, and not to be annoying and not to be like, well, there's no answer here, and that's on purpose. But I think a smart AI who is designing this would make it very ambiguous as well. And in essence, everything you're seeing is what the AI wants you to see as the villain of the movie. And so, how brilliant of them to also make it impossible to understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Yeah,
can
so
always fall back on that.
well, that works too. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, I always like to ask people, what did you learn from the process of writing? Good luck, have fun, don't die. And yeah, what would you like to take into future projects from this one?
Yeah, I think it's a similar journey that Sam's character in the movie went through, which is this movie lived and died 117 times, just like he did in Norm Steiner. It had 1,000 lives that I all thought were going to end well, that didn't, and 1,000 opportunities for me to give up and just move on to different projects. And luckily, Gore Verbinski put this movie on his back and climbed up the tallest mountain in the world and made it happen. And yeah, I mean, in essence, it's even impossible movies have a chance if you really find the right people and get really lucky, like we did, and get the timing right. And yeah, it reminded me that, for a long time, I thought the script would just be a nice little calling card, a nice little sample that would get me other work. Um, but we kept my team and Gore's team and everybody kept pushing and fighting for it, and it really shouldn't exist, and it's pretty cool that it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on it. It's such a
Thank you.
fun movie. It's just, yeah, wonderful. I hope that everybody goes out and sees it on February 13th. So,
Me
yeah,
too. Thank you so much, Elise.
absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.